I used to think sacrifice was the highest form of love. When my girlfriend, Emily, got accepted into medical school, it felt like our shared dream. We'd been together since our early 20s, both ambitious but broke, struggling to keep up with rent and bills. She wanted to be a doctor, and I wanted to see her succeed. The problem was money. Medical school fees were monstrous, and her family couldn't help. Mine barely had enough to support themselves. That left us, and my savings. I had been working 2 jobs for years, saving up to start my own business, something I'd planned since college. But when I saw Emily's tear-filled eyes, terrified that her dream would slip away, I made a choice. I poured my savings into her tuition, moved us into a smaller apartment, and took on extra shifts to cover our living expenses. She promised me it would all be worth it, that when she graduated, we'd build a life together, one where my sacrifice would be repaid with love, loyalty, and a future as partners. For years passed in a blur. My days were consumed with work, my nights often spent alone while she studied late at the library or rotated through hospitals. I told myself the loneliness was temporary, that the reward was coming. She'd often remind me, just a few more years, and everything will change. I believed her. Finally, her graduation day arrived. I watched her walk across the stage in her black gown, the tassel bouncing as she received her diploma. Pride filled my chest so completely it almost hurt. I thought back to every sleepless night, every dollar I had earned and handed over without hesitation. This was our victory. That evening, her parents hosted a graduation party at a fancy hotel ballroom. It was a sea of suits and dresses, champagne glasses clinking, and laughter echoing under chandeliers. I stood by the bar, smiling as Emily floated around the room, glowing, hugging professors and classmates. She barely stopped to introduce me, though, which stung. Most people there probably thought I was just some guy tagging along, not the man who had financed the very achievement they were celebrating. I brushed it off, reminding myself she was busy. But then, it happened. I had stepped into the hallway to take a breather when I overheard voices just around the corner. Emily's voice, unmistakable. She was laughing lightly, the way she did when she wanted to impress someone. Another voice followed, deeper, confident. A man. You're incredible, Em. I can't believe you managed all this, he said. She laughed again. I didn't do it alone. But, yeah, it feels amazing to finally be here. You know, he continued, I've been dying to ask, what about your boyfriend? Is he still in the picture? I froze. My chest tightened. There was a pause, and then Emily's voice, quieter but sharp enough to slice through me, he was useful. He supported me when I needed it. Paid for a lot of things. But come on, do you really see me ending up with him long term? I'm a doctor now. He's just a guy who works shifts. I can do better. The words hit like a fist. My heart dropped into my stomach. The man chuckled. That's what I thought. You deserve someone on your level. And, if I'm being honest, I've always hoped that someone might be me. Emily didn't reply immediately. Then, softly, maybe. That single word burned worse than anything. I stood frozen, my entire body numb, as though the ground had been yanked out from under me. All the years I had given her, all the money, the hours, the sacrifices, and this was her gratitude? To reduce me to useful? To speak about me like a rung on the ladder she'd already climbed past? I slipped away before either of them could see me. Back inside the ballroom, everything looked different. The chandeliers weren't beautiful anymore, they were mocking. The laughter wasn't joyful, it was cruel. And Emily? She wasn't the woman I thought I loved. She was a stranger wrapped in the body of someone I'd given my entire life to. When she finally came back to me, smiling, asking if I'd met her classmates, I just stared at her. I didn't say what I knew. Not yet. Instead, I gave a tight smile and said, yeah, I met enough. I left the party early. She barely noticed. That night, I lay awake in our apartment, staring at the ceiling. The betrayal replayed in my head over and over. The money didn't even matter anymore, though it was a fortune. What crushed me was that every late-night drive to pick her up, every meal I cooked when she was too tired, every ounce of faith I poured into her had been nothing more than stepping stones for her to walk over. The next morning, I packed my bags. When she came home, still glowing from the celebration, she found me sitting at the kitchen table with a small box in front of me. Inside were the receipts I had saved as tuition payments, rent, groceries, everything. I didn't need repayment. I needed her to see the weight of what I'd carried for her. She frowned. "What is this?" I looked her in the eye, calm despite the storm in my chest. "That's my investment. In you. In us. Last night, I overheard you say I was useful. That you can do better. And you're right, Emily. You can. But so can I." Her face drained of color. She opened her mouth, stammering, "Wait, it's not what it sounded like, I shook my head. "Don't bother. I know exactly what it was. Congratulations on becoming a doctor. But don't ever forget who paid the price for your dream." Then I walked out. That was the last time I saw her. It's been a year since then. I used the little savings I'd managed to rebuild to finally start my own business. It's small, but it's mine. I don't live in her shadow anymore. Sometimes I think about Emily, whether she regrets what she said, whether she realizes she destroyed the one person who believed in her unconditionally. But I don't dwell. Because the truth is, I didn't lose her. She lost me. And in that loss, I found myself again.